You might appreciate that.
Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy C. Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Reverend Mel Bashar from the Saginaw United Methodist Church. Mel, good to see you. After our invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Gracious God, we give you thanks this morning and always for the goodness of your grace upon each one of us today. We thank you that you have created all of us in your image. We thank you for those amazing differences that you created us and not sickening samenesses. We thank you for the varieties that exist in this court that represent the varieties of opinions and love and concern and compassion, guidance and wisdom that we bestow upon not only this county but also upon this country. We thank you for the country of the United States in which we live and have citizenship in, that many people come here because of the freedom that we enjoy, the sacrifices that people give to it, and the love that we have for this country of ours. Guide this court, O God. Guide each one of us to do your will, to the betterment of each individual, to bring about equality and justice and hope and love and compassion, to bring about peace in our neighborhoods. And we thank you for those who work toward that. Grant them all your guidance and wisdom every day so that we may continue to be citizens of this county of ours, this city of ours, this country of ours, to do your will and to do justly and to love our neighbor so that we can all work together for the good of all humankind. We pray all these things and we all say together, Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thanks, Mel. Thank you. Good to see you. Mr. Mayes, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have two announcements as relates to the agenda this morning. The first is under the administrator section, item 9A7. This concerns an interlocal agreement with CSCD. We are going to hold that item for 1 week. Also, members of the court, under the district attorney's office, item 9F4. This concerns a resolution authorizing the use of eminent domain. It was inadvertently put on as a consent item. We want to remove that from consent. Also, Your Honor and court, if we could have a minor realignment of the agenda this morning prior to us going into the approval of the minutes, I would recommend that we go to the administrator section, which will be 9A1. This is an announcement and discussion concerning the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. And Mr. Bass is here to address the court at this time.
Mr. Bass, come forward. Brought us some, stock show comes, we got a little rain. You know,
We're proud to bring rain to our great county of Tarrant.
it's not frozen yet, but you know, there's still hope.
Judge Whitley, Commissioners, it's an honor to appear this morning before the Commissioners Court representing the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. You know, the county and the stock shows share a great deal of common interest. This county, though one of the most important urban counties of Texas, also still includes very considerable rural areas and rural population. The agribusiness is an important industry in Tarrant County and contributes a great deal to our economy. And these are exactly the things that the stock show celebrates and conducts public education in. in addition to this economic activity and servicing our citizens of Tarrant County, we share a great common interest in the facilities. And the public-private partnership among Tarrant County, the City of Fort Worth, and the Stock Show has worked together to produce very important improvements to those facilities that are used by the population of Tarrant County. They bring economic activity to Tarrant County, and perhaps most importantly of all, host the Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show for our youth, where we educate our youth and allow them participation going forward in our agricultural traditions of Texas. The county has played a particularly important role in recent years in improving the mobility in the Will Rogers Center area. So this morning I bring to you a tradition of the Stock Show, and that is your 2012 Stock Show badges. Each badge is inscribed as county commissioner or county judge, and these are the badges here. If you will permit me to show the audience. This is my badge. It says chairman of the board. And I have for each of you an appropriate badge so that you might visit the Stock Show frequently at any time during our 23-day run. We're honored to have you. I know I see each of you there each year demonstrating your interest in the show and your participation. Accompanying your badge is a guest badge for your spouse, companion, or partner. And I, at this point, will very pleased to present each of these to you.
I might say while you're doing that, J.D. has already kind of begun the tradition on the Junior Livestock Show.
I have for a fact, and in fact, I've received checks from 2 of our court members today already.
That's the reason I mentioned it, because I already got my check in.
Me too.
Appreciate it.
But it really, I mean, the Junior Livestock Show is something that J.D. has really kind of taken as his own and does a tremendous amount of work. And Mr. Bass, you're exactly right. I think that does a tremendous amount for the youth of Tarrant County, and it's a good event. Great event.
I'll point out, if I might, sir, that Commissioner Johnson came to today's session wearing his badge as a Stock Show director. He plays an active and important role, and we want to thank him for that. We also want to thank him. He is really the key element of our annual Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show, and Commissioner, we really appreciate that. It's tremendous service to our county and to our youth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will say during this 23-day run, I would guess that Commissioner Johnson and I know Mr. Bass will be out there regularly with the youth on the calf wrestle or calf scramble, as well as during the opening events, and we appreciate it. It's such a strong part of Tarrant County and Fort Worth, the Stock Show is, and so it's a fun time to at the beginning of each year to be involved with that. With that, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of December 27th.
Move for approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have a proclamation. Commissioner Brooks.
I move approval of the proclamation honoring the Links Incorporated for 65 years of service to America. It will be presented at a future date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now comes our favorite time of the month, where we do our employee recognition. And so what I'm going to do, now we're changing it up a little bit this year, and I know I'm going to take a little bit of grief over this, but we are going to recognize the groups, and this year we're going to start where we individually recognize the 25-year-plus folks. It was we were having a major number of people who were getting to that 20-year, which is great, but it was becoming more and more time-consuming, and I talked with some of the other court members, and we've decided we're going to move that to the 25-year mark, and I know Commissioner Johnson is one of our 25-year employees this year, but for you 20 years, it's just an incentive to stick around for 5 more years. And we'll begin with our 5-year. The qualifier I put on all of this is, as I read your name, please stand, remain standing. If it sounds like your name, go ahead and stand up. My pronunciations have not gotten any better over the last 5 years, so please just bear with me and forgive me for the mispronunciations. It is a great entertainment to the 4 up here and to the rest of many of y'all whose names I'm not butchering. So we'll begin with Judge Nancy Berger of our 5-year employees, Sharon Betts with the Auditor's Office, Sharon, Deborah Butler, Juvenile Services, Judge Russ Casey, JP 3, Amber Culp, Domestic Relations, Maria D. Kernion, close to that. Public Health. Did I get anywhere close?
Almost.
That sounds to me like
thank
a
you.
no.
You're very kind. You're very kind. Let's see if I can get this next one.
You got Maria correct.
Yeah. Commissioner Fickus.
5 years.
Yes. Jose Gonzalez, Sheriff Court. Teresa Harridge, CSCD. Carolyn Jenkins, CSCD. Sonora Lott, Criminal Court, number 4. Geraldine Luring, District Attorney's Office. Rita Salazar, Constable Precinct 2. Christy Salisbury, County Clerk. Carolyn Sims, Commissioner Precinct 3. Neil Strassman, County Judge's Office. Royal Strother, Sheriff, Booking. Judge Ralph Swearingen, JP Precinct 1. Rory Thomas, Sheriff, Confinement. Joseph Thornhill, Sheriff, Confinement. Kirby Tibbett, Sheriff, Communications. And Vincent Williams, Veteran Services. Let's give these 5-year employees a hand. Now for our 10-year employees, Richard Allen, Information Technology. Richard. Jan Allred, Information Technology. Donna Beeson, District Attorney's Office. Adolfo Buenteo, Information Technology. Clara Cromings, District Attorney's Office. Debbie Fillmore, Administrator's Office. Jacqueline Harless, Information Technology. Heather Helton, Domestic Relations. Emily Sanchez, Auditor's Office. Cynthia Sherman, Tax Office. Rhonda Wiedering, District Attorney's Office. Lloyd Welchel, District Attorney's Office. And Jane Zoe, Information Technology. Janie. Let's give the 10-year employees a hand. Now for our 15-year employees, Brenda Anderson, Sheriff Booking. Brenda. Jeffrey Basinger, Sheriff Courts. Janice Beckham, District Attorney's Office. Bernice B., Sheriff Courts. Sarah Bennett, Sheriff Confinement. Elaine Brown, CSCD. Stephen Fields, Probate Court Number 2. Craig Hubbs, Facilities Management. Brenda back there? Nope, nope.
Craig running? Did he run over here?
Carolyn Mills, Auditor's Office. Glennis Paramore, Sheriff Booking. Patty Richards, Criminal Court Number 1. Tina Wilson, Precinct 1 Maintenance.
I think you skipped one name.
And B. Glenn Whitley, 15 years.
It has been a great 15 years, and I have thoroughly enjoyed every day of it. Every day of it.
Really?
Every day of it. Now, there were some I enjoyed. As somebody has once said, there are some that I enjoyed a little bit more than others. Our 20-year employees: Connie Allenbrand, District Clerk. Larry Baker, Sheriff Confinement. John Cromer, Sheriff Confinement. Robert Corley, Medical Examiner's Office. Margie Drake, Public Health. Lonnie Dunham, Sheriff Confinement. Linda Ekman, District Attorney's Office. Michael Halford, County Clerk. Mary Kelleher, Juvenile Services. Danny Lingle, Facilities Management. John McDonough, Sheriff Courts. Charla McManus, Public Health. Richard Osborne, Sheriff Confinement. Robert Rouse, Facilities Management. Joy Lee Russell, Transportation Services. Linda Skidmore, Sheriff Technology. And David Ward, County Clerk. Let's give these 20-year employees. Now for our 25 plus, as I said, we're going to call, I did call and talk with them. Again, this was kind of the unique year. When I started the process out 5 years ago, talking to the 20-year employees, I saved most, I guess after a couple of months, I saved January, but for some reason I think February and March, as I'm trying to remember, I think I didn't save those files. And so I'm going to have to start the process over again with those particular individuals. But one of the things that I found unique is as I looked over the 20-year comments that they had made, as I talked with folks, I was able to kind of recount some of the things that they had said at the 20-year mark, and then also kind of add the things that maybe had occurred in their lives over the last 5 years. And so it was, it was kind of an opportunity, and it's something that I'm looking forward to going back and reconnecting with these folks as we go through through this on a monthly basis from this standpoint forward. Our first 25-year employee is Gail Gravitt with Domestic Relations. And when I talked with Gail 5 years ago, she indicated that, she started out with Judge Lehrman and that they had created a program called Access Facilitation, and that program had become very, very successful, and in fact, so much so that she had an opportunity to go and to make presentations outside of the United States up into Canada about this, and that she also really enjoyed Tarrant County because of the tremendous focus that it had on trying to help people at a difficult point in time in their lives. and that the fact that Tarrant County was always willing to kind of look outside of the box. When I talked with her again this time, she said that the program was still going strong, but that they had renamed it now the Access Coordination. Judge Sinha is now the judge. Judge Lehrman has moved on to the Texas Supreme Court, and we're all very proud of her for that. Gail mentioned also that she'd had an opportunity recently to finish our Bridge Leadership, which is kind of our county leadership program. We were talking also, she has 2 grown daughters that, again, have kind of grown up in her time with the county. One is 25 and is out of college, but is fixing to go back for a master's program. So that daughter would have been born when you first came to the county. And then she has another daughter who is a sophomore at Tarleton. She said, I still love working for the county. It's been a great experience, and it's a great place to work. And Gail, it's a great place to work because of people like you. Thank you very much for your service. Next is Terry Grisham. Where's Terry? There he is. You kind of snuck in on me there. I didn't see you come in. Again, this is, 5 years ago when I talked with Terry, he reflected over the fact that he had started with Judge Roy English, and I guess Judge English was one of the first Republicans, was the first Republican as judge on the court, may have been the first Republican on the court. That he had worked with Judge Vandergriff and then with Dee when Dee became the sheriff. He said, I've had an opportunity over the years when I worked with Judge Vandergriff. He was such a great mentor, great leader, someone who you could look at as a true statesman. And it's something I think we all know, and we really miss him and miss the leadership that he provided to the county. One of the things that he mentioned 5 years ago, and is something that, as we talked yesterday, that is still he still sees as a big difference is the fact of working on both sides. And I think the folks that really kind of work up here, feel like they've got a good pulse on what's going on in the county, but nothing like probably what the individual workers have in each one of the individual departments, whether it be in the sheriff's department, in the tax office, the district, or the county clerk's office. They're the folks that are right there working with the individuals in their particular area, and they really do have the pulse of what's going on. And he said it's really striking to see both sides and to see it from both sides. He said, I still see an awful lot of things happening in the county. There's always something going on. Terry has a daughter also, daughter that is at school at St. Edward's in Austin right now, is in her 3rd year. And Terry, we again just appreciate very much the 25 years of service you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you very much. Now next is Commissioner J.D. Johnson. And again, as we talked... As I talked with J.D. also started with Roy English, and he's one of those that said, I had a lot of memorable moments. Some of them were good and some of them were not so good. I think the focus, I guess in the 15 years at least that I have been on the court, I would say the one constant that I would say about J.D. is he's always there watching out for the folks, watching out for the employees, watching out for, doing everything he can to make sure that folks get treated right. He said 5 years ago that he loved the idea of being a public servant. He hated the idea of being a politician. And the one thing that he disliked the most about county government was that he had to run campaigns every 4 years. And he's got, one of his consultants back there in the back, who I know that every 4 years that, he tries to keep J.D. out of trouble as much as possible, with a little bit of help and compensation on that deal. Again, J.D. has been, he's about past everything now, except past commissioner. He is past president of the West Texas Judges and Commissioners Association. He's past president of the State Judges and Commissioners Association. When last we talked 5 years ago, he was the president-elect of the Texas Association of Counties, and so now he is the past president of the Texas Association of Counties, but has demonstrated exceptional leadership within the state. During his and right after his term, they actually ended up selecting a new executive director. They had to go through that process, and J.D. was instrumental in working on that. As he and I talked, he's extremely proud of the new sub-courthouse out there. And, you know, there's been a little publicity about that building, as well as other buildings. And I guess the thing that J.D. and I talked about was the fact that we're proud of the buildings that we've built in Tarrant County. A lot of times when the county goes about doing something, we hear from neighborhood groups that, you know, I don't want this around me. It's going to reduce my property values. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. We tried to build buildings, and I think have been successful at encouraging economic development and helping people to be proud of what's around them and not to be ashamed of it. And so as we look back at the buildings that we built, and especially J.D.'s new sub-courthouse, the old one was 37 years old. It was falling down at the seams. It was packed to the seams. And we've got a facility now that will be able to hopefully serve the citizens of the northwest part of Tarrant County for another 37 years, at least 37 years. And so we're very proud of that. One of the other things that he mentioned is that during the 25 years he's been on there, he's served with 3 commissioners in each one of the different precincts, 3 different commissioners, 3 different county judges, 4 different sheriffs, and if you count an appointed one that was in there for a while, 3 different tax assessor collectors, and 2 different county and district clerks. So he has seen a lot of folks come and go, and he's been kind of that person that we could all turn to and look at the history of what's going on and what he can remember of it. He's been very good. It was getting a little too, it was getting a little too glory. I thought I had to, say a little bit there. But we appreciate very, very much the leadership and the experience that J.D. Johnson has given to Tarrant County over the last 25 years. This was going to be short until I got to you.
Yeah.
Next is...
I told you I wanted to try to make this fast.
I know, but sometimes I don't listen, as you've told me a few times. Next is Danny Lindsay, Sheriff's Department for 25 years. Danny. Again, when last we talked, when I asked him about his more memorable moments, it was hitting the 20-year mark. And he is he's now sitting here at the 25. He has been in the Sheriff's Department from the get-go. He was with the laundry area for 11 years when last we spoke, and so now he's running on 16. He met his wife while she was working over at TCC, and then she came to work actually for the Sheriff's Department. At that time, they had a girl 16 and a boy 15. The girl is now a senior at Texas Wesleyan, and the son is a junior at Texas Wesleyan. So they have kept that, kept the kids in the area, and Texas Wesleyan is a great university. He mentioned that over the holidays his daughter got engaged, and so that was another opportunity. He said last year he celebrated his 25th anniversary with his wife, and now the 25-year anniversary with the county. He said, I continue to love working for the county and the people that I've had a chance to work with over the years. We appreciate very, very much, Danny, the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Aubry Pritchard, Precinct 4 Maintenance. There's Aubry. Started out as Operator 1, is now the sign technician for Precinct 4. Again, when I asked him what he liked most, he said, I love the people, I love the benefits, and I love the way that people help each other out in the county. It's something that he said, it's a great place, and it has been a great experience for me. Aubry, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given Tarrant County. Thank you. As you look, there's a lot of Precinct 4. That just means that JD's brought people in and he's kept them. The next is John Ed Robbins. Where's John Ed? John Ed, Precinct 4, been there since JD started. Actually worked with JD, I guess, when he was at Saginaw. You were the city administrator, I believe, out there. When I asked him about the more memorable moments, I guess 5 years ago, it was again kind of some of the facilities that he had a chance to work with, the currency plant, a lot of those types of things. He said, I really love everything about Tarrant County. When I asked him, and we talked recently, he said, the economy has had a great impact over local government in the last 5 years, and it's been a little bit more difficult, but the people have always and continue to make the difference. That the quality of the Tarrant County workforce has really been, has continued to shine. And if you look, it also points out the leadership that we have and the fact that we've got folks all over the county who've been the heads, just as JD, as I mentioned about JD earlier, who have shined statewide and nationwide. And it's something that we should be proud of, because I think what it says is not only do we care about the folks in Tarrant County, but we also try to do our best to promote local government wherever we may be and in whatever instance we may be. John Ed's retiring. He mentioned that he was going to retire at the end of March. One of the things he said I'm the proudest of over the last 5 years, again, was the design, the construction, and the completion of the new sub-courthouse out in northwest Tarrant County. John Ed, again, thank you very much for the 25 years of service you've given. Next is Kelly Willis with Juvenile Services. There's Kelly. Been with Juvenile Service all 25 years. Loves the opportunity that he's had to serve the clients and to work with the clients that he's worked with. He said, I still absolutely love seeing the successes. Those times when, we really can see that we turn some lives around. There's always change, but he said, okay, change is okay, and it's good. The next couple of years are going to be interesting years. Juvenile Services statewide has merged with TYC, and I think everyone's still kind of on pins and needles, kind of waiting to see what happens there. But he said, I love my job. I love the people that I've had a chance to work with. And he said, I'm really proud when I go anywhere to be able to say I'm from Tarrant County because of the reputation that this county has around the state. And Kelly, we appreciate it. It's because of people like you that we have that great reputation. Thank you very much for your service. Okay, we're going to have to take a pause here for a moment while I hope I can get to one of my, I know, JD, you're just sitting over there.
I have mine laying right here.
Yeah, but yours doesn't have the information that mine has on it. I hope.
Sorry, Susan.
Kim Black, 30 years of service. Oh, Kim, please be here. Maybe that's the reason it's not up. Kim Black is serving, this is her 30-year anniversary. Started out with Judge Spurlock and then moved, is now working with Judge Hennigan. As I told her, early on in the process 5 years ago, when I would talk with folks, I'd say, tell me a story. You've been here 20 years, you've got to have a story. And they'd tell me the stories, and then I'd repeat them. And many of them would, they'd turn a little red or they'd be a little embarrassed. And after about 4 or 5 months, they stopped telling stories. And so I hadn't been able to get anybody to tell stories. But she used, she told the stories of of some of the sights that she'd see on the Worthington tennis court out her fourth floor window.
Oh, my.
And you can let the imagination run, and I guarantee you it won't go as far as what some of the stories was that she told. She said, I love the people and the people I've had a chance to work with. Again, she's a single mom. She has 2 teenage girls right now, 16 and 14, so she's got an active life not only at work but also at home. She says, I love the fact that I'm getting closer to retirement, but with a 16 and a 14, it's still going to be some time. And all of us who've had children can relate to that. She said, I love everything about the county except every 4 years when we have elections. And so we can all relate to that. And so as you see Kim, tell her that we missed her and congratulate her on her 30 years with Tarrant County. Next is Steve Farrow with the courts. He's been with the courts for 30 years. Well, has been with the county for 30 years. Started out in patrol under Lon Evans and then moved to the local narcotics unit, which then eventually turned into the NICU. He spent a little time at crime scene and in IAD. Then was in criminal investigations for a while, and then for the last 3 years has been in the courts area. When I asked him about the more memorable moments, he said things have just gotten a lot bigger over the last 30 years. He said, my goal has always been the same. It's to serve the people and to help wherever he can. When I asked him what he liked most, it was the attitude that people had towards serving. He said, you know, I worked a little bit of time with municipalities, and he said it's an altogether different attitude. That the folks with the county are really focused on how they can help and how they can serve the folks that they come in contact with, and not, more of a, I've got a little bit more power than maybe you might have. So he loves his time with the county. The ability to be flexible was another thing he commented on. We're given the opportunity to face an issue and to deal with it as we feel we can best deal with it, and not under some, just there's no deviation for circumstances. He said it's just absolutely a great place to work, and the folks really try to help folks out. He said and I could tell by talking with him that Steve had an absolutely great attitude and really wanted to go out of his way to help folks. And it's that kind of attitude, I think, that makes Tarrant County such a great place to live and to be a part of. And we appreciate very much your 30 years of service. Thank you very much. All told, 1,010 years worth of service did we just recognize. And again, I would want to thank every one of you.
Your Honor.
We have refreshments in 504C. And Commissioner Brooks?
Before you dismiss this crowd of county family, in large part the reason we do this every month is because we need to celebrate and support each other as family. A member of our family, Sheriff's Deputy Fred Bauer, was recently seriously injured trying to stop a bank robbery in East Fort Worth. He's recovering at home. His injury was so serious that he needed 50 stitches to his throat. I would ask your prayers for Deputy Bauer and his family, and let's do what we do best, which is to wrap our arms around each other and support. Thank you.
And I think we're also going to close today's meeting. Commissioner Johnson,
I have a supervisor in my operation, Larry Christian. A little over a week ago, almost 2 weeks ago, his 14-year-old daughter was killed in that horrible accident out in Springtown. Her name was Alex Christian. In fact, she was burned to death in that wreck. And I'd like to ask that we close court today in her name.
Please, we'll do that. Again, we'll recess for just a second. We'll all head back to 504C. Again, thank all of you for everything that you do. We really do appreciate you, and thank you very much for your service.
I'll get a break.
4. One of those. 4F. 4F, yes. Any discussion?
F4.
F4 is the one that we're pulling off.
Yeah.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Come ahead, Patricia.
Good morning. We're requesting the Commissioners Court conduct a public hearing to consider Amendment Number 2 to Program Year 2010 Consolidated Action Plan. The Consolidated Action Plan covers CDBG funding. What we're requesting to do is reallocate $500,000 from administration to housing rehabilitation. The $500,000 is old money that we've had that we keep there for a contingency in case something happens. And as we've gotten cut the last 2 years, we will move that into the program area. There's no action at this time, just citizen input.
Okay, I'll open this public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter. There appearing none, I will close the public hearing. Thank you, Patricia. Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have 5 more items to bring to you this morning. The first one is item number 2. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court accept a $175,000 grant from the Amon G. Carter Foundation as it relates to the funding of the Tarrant County Jail Inmate Reintegration Program.
I will move approval with thanks to the Amon G. Carter Foundation for supporting our reentry program.
I will second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we could go to item 3. We have placed this item on the agenda for discussion and possible action as it relates to the appointment of Justice of the Peace Precinct 5. Just a little background information. Judge Manuel Valdez, who is JP5, has filed his candidacy for the U.S. House of Representatives. According to state law, once Judge Valdez is filed, he has vacated his office. He remains in a holdover capacity until his successor is duly appointed and qualified. That office is to be filled by the Commissioners Court. We do not have any action today on this. However, as some of you or all of you know, there's been much discussion and at least some oral arguments yesterday as it relates to the U.S. Supreme Court and our lines. So if there's any comments that the court would like to make on this item or as it relates to the redistricting process, this may be the time to do that.
Go ahead.
My only comment would be that in the sake of being consistent over a long period of time, I have to be in favor of appointing an interim rather than letting the person continue to sit. That's a position I have always taken, and I don't see a reason to change it in this particular instance.
I would say, I guess, at this point in time, everything that I've said and from the conversations that I've heard since the Supreme Court took testimony yesterday, it's very likely that our primary is going to be May or even late May. We spent a great deal of time earlier this year trying to figure out how we were going to work with the school districts and the parties and the municipalities in holding elections with the number of machines that we have. And we came to the conclusion that as long as it was a runoff with the parties, primary runoff, that we could work that with because of the less number of machines needed. If they end up dropping the primary all the way back to May, then it could very well be that you've got the primary elections and the municipal elections within a week or so of one another, which I think is going to make it much more difficult to be able to do that. I don't know I'm not offering any solution right now, but what I'm saying is that we'll probably have to get with Steve as soon as we can, along with the election group, and which is made up of Mary Louise, Ron, the two party chairs, and myself, and see what we can work out with the parties, and then also begin communications with the cities, because it's going to be a mess. We don't know when they're going to come back. By the same token as, the original court that I know the state, TAC and TML and CUC all kind of intervened to the court in San Antonio and said, look, you got to look at the time frame. We're not sure we can hit it. And we put a calendar out there to them. That calendar anticipated a February 1st filing deadline, which I think now is impossible to look at. The way that had been set was to say that if J.P. Valdez, filed before way early, so he's out, he's resigned to run. There's the opportunity that his name will appear on the ballot, or his position will appear on the primary ballot because he resigned. The way the calendar was set was that had he resigned or had he filed a run between January the 27th and February the 1st, then his position would not have been on the primary ballot, and we would have had to have appointed someone to fill that unexpired term. Because he filed in plenty of time for everybody to know about that,
Filed in December.
Then in effect his office will show up on the primary ballot as an unexpired term. Whatever date they finally set for the end of the filing deadline, you can probably anticipate that 3 or 4 or 5 days ahead of that will be the deadline on which someone, if they by their filing vacate a seat, that it will end up appearing on the ballot and we'll actually have a race for the unexpired term. I say all that to say we're in limbo. Nobody has a clue as to when the primary elections are going to be at this point in time. And I think it's just going to be a mess. And then whether or not we or any county can hold both, has the machines necessary to hold both those elections, is something that we're all going to have to labor with too. And it's certainly too late now to even consider purchasing.
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. The proper solution from the beginning was for those other jurisdictions to move their elections. And there was considerable sentiment on this court to force the parties to accommodate rather than to force the cities and school boards to accommodate. Now it's come and bit us in the behind. We're not going to have a choice.
The ideal thing would have been for the
To say we can't do it is not going to be an option. We're going to have to do it one way or another.
Well, if they move the election to June, which is also being talked about, then that frees up a little more time.
I mean, we talk about having to do it, but no, when it comes down to it, we could if the primary falls within a couple of weeks of the municipal elections, I'm not sure we'll be able to do the municipal elections.
That's precisely my point.
Any other?
I have a question. Can Judge Valdez continue to be the authority of that court? Because officially he has resigned, isn't it?
He's a holdover.
But the law will allow that.
The Constitution specifically addresses this issue by saying he is a holdover until his successor has been appointed by you and duly qualified to take over.
I see. Okay. Okay.
And we can appoint a successor next week if we wanted to.
Appoint a successor at any point in time once he resigns. So
And that successor would stay in office at least until the November election, and then whoever winner of the November election could then take office
After the votes are canvassed.
after the votes are canvassed.
That's correct.
Any other questions or comments this morning? Thank you, Mr. Lindsay.
Thank you, Your Honor. We could move now to item 4. We're requesting that the court approve an exception to the county's travel policy as it relates to Constable Precinct 6.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, on item number 5, we're requesting that the court approve an exception to the county's travel policy for Constable Precinct 1. This is just a little bit different than the one you've just taken action on. Constable Crowder is going to be going to the North Texas JP and Constables Association Educational Conference, which is in region. However, he is in his last year, and that requires specific court approval for him to attend an educational conference. We are recommending that the court approve this action.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we could go to item number 6, I'm going to ask Ms. McMillan to come forward and present that particular item.
Judge, Commissioners, you may recall in December we brought forth to you on briefing about a tax abatement request from General Motors for the location and construction of a $200 million investment in a contiguous stamping facility that would be built on the grounds of the current GM Arlington plant. These improvements include about $68 million in a facility the size of about 225,000 plus, and another $132 million investment in real property, which includes press equipment and dies for the stamping facility. This facility will add 180 jobs for that location. The City of Arlington has approved a tax abatement agreement since that time at 90% for 10 years. The agreement I have before you is similar to the one we did for the retooling earlier last year, and it provides for a maximum of 70% tax abatement for a period of 10 years. This starts with a base abatement of 45% and then provides an additional 25% abatement that can be earned with additional jobs, additional percentage Tarrant County employment, and the use of Tarrant County and DBE employees in the construction contracting. Again, as usual, this General Motors has asked for a variance in regards to the use of the Tarrant County and DBE contractors in construction and annual supply and services. However, as we mentioned before, they do a lot of dollars business with local contractors. I think with adding the incentive for added tax abatement in the construction process, they're going to work their best to try to use local and DBE contractors in the construction of this new facility. So on behalf before you, I'm asking you to first approve Tarrant County's participation with the City of Arlington in tax abatement for the new stamping facility for a period of 10 years at a maximum of 70% as set forth in the agreement. Approve the request for a variance from our tax abatement policy in regards to utilization of Tarrant County and DBE contractors, and approve the resolution that certifies our agreement to participate and authorizes the execution of the agreement.
I move for approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote.
Go ahead.
My comment was going to be that I object to granting the variance for Tarrant County and DBE suppliers. However, we will see whether the carrot approach works, and I will be looking closely to see whether their ability to earn additional abatement by meeting the requirements of that DBE and Tarrant County-based contractor policy has caused them to act in a more favorable way.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tidwell.
We have one item that we're asking the court to consider this morning, and that's to approve the release of the $400,001,000 of collateral as requested in your court communique and the attached letters. It's the time of year where our balances are lowered and we don't need the additional collateral.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Snyder?
First Management Board is recommending approval of the two claims that are listed on the agenda. The second one, just as an FYI, is just a supplemental to a previously approved claim.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Your Honor. We're requesting authorization for the auditor to cash two subrogation checks in the amount of $10,000 and a money order in the amount of $100.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
We're requesting authorization to submit an opt-in form and a McKesson government entity payroll class action lawsuit.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
On item number 4, we're going to pass this for 1 week. I want to think about this notice and think about how we're going to do this in the future. We're having to change our condemnation process and condemn by piece of property, and
Okay.
this is one of the first ones. I'm going to think about it a little bit.
Thank you. Ms. Glenn?
Move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to second, receive and file personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, Ms. Glenn.
Commissioners, do you have, let's see, Commissioner Fickus?
Yes. Interlocal. I'm looking.
Did we do purchasing?
No, I'm not going to do him until after closed.
We have an interlocal with City of Keller for performing work on Bandit Trail and Bancroft Road. And I move for approval, P1, A, and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Johnson?
Move approval of 9P2, A, B, C, and D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Appointments?
I would like to reappoint Jenny McGarry to the Board of Directors of TIF number 2 and 3. That include the I-20 corridor and the Peninsula districts in Arlington.
Second.
And Brentwood.
We have a motion and a second to appoint whatever he said,
Jenny McGarry.
to whatever TIFs he said.
I couldn't read my own hand.
Motion approved. Any other appointments?
Yes, to the Human Services Advisory Board, new first-time appointments will fill 2 unexpired terms. The nominees are Connie Nahulewa and Sylvia Rosales, both of Precinct 4.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, Jack, come on down. We got whooped. But we still beat 3 of the top 5 teams.
Yay.
One of which was the one that won the Cotton Bowl this year. So congratulations on your win of the Cotton Bowl.
Do you want to share the Star Telegram article picture I have with you?
I've lost that. I really have. Oh, no, there it is.
What's this say?
Hall of Heaven.
Yeah.
We do have 2 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for RFP number 2012-021. This is an RFP for heavy equipment insurance for budget risk management. Our recommendation will be to award to Hub International per the contract terms. And actually, the prices actually went down this time, which is a good thing.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our last item is a bid award recommendation for bid number 2012-033. This is our annual contract for aggregate road surface treatment for use by the precincts. A recommendation will be to award a per enterprise basis, awarding to the five primary vendors as shown in the court communique. We did receive a bid from a company called Zach Burkett. They did not sign their bid document, so we would recommend rejection of that document.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Jack. Congratulations.
How come you're not gloating?
See, it's hard to gloat when I admit that we got rolled over. Jeez, boy, I tell you. Court members, you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move for approval of the claim of the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius?
Your Honor, we do not have any items to come before the court this morning.
We'll now recess from our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempted under sections 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. Before we leave, I do want to remind everyone, Commissioner Fickus has got a transportation summit coming up. Do you want to say anything more?
Yeah, it's on February the 10th. We've got 3 great seminars and one on commuter rail for North Texas. We've got somebody there from DART, the Denton County Transit Authority, and the T. And then the second one is done by Michael Morris with the TOG. And Michael's going to talk about, Michael and some local leaders are going to talk about partnerships and processes for successful road projects. And Mayor Betsy Price is going to speak on the importance of regional transportation, and our keynote speaker will be the Executive Director at TxDOT, Phil Wilson. So we've got these. We can hand them out. Tells you all about how to register and come. So looks like I think we're going to have a real good turnout, and so if you can make it, we'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.